Welcome everyone to episode 48 of the Video Game Book Club. I'm Tabimura, and today I am joined by Nakuso, Mr. McMahon Genji. Say hello, everyone.
What up?
Hey.
What up? So this time around, we're going to be focusing on The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. This game was nominated by Tabimura, and it was selected on the Wheel of Mystery with a 1 out of 2 chance, or 50% chance of winning. So congratulations, Tabimura. Oh, thank you, Tabimura. I too am glad it won and it was not rigged. 100% rigged. Yeah, definitely not rigged at all. Don't look back at those old recordings. But anyways, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom was developed and published by Nintendo and was originally released on May 12th, 2023 for the Nintendo Switch. On The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom's official website, it reads, quote, "Explore the vast land and skies of Hyrule. In this sequel to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild game, you'll decide your own path through the sprawling landscapes of Hyrule and the mysterious islands floating in the vast skies above. Can you harness the power of Link's new abilities to fight back against the malevolent forces that threaten the kingdom?" But that's how the website describes the game. How would everyone here describe the game? The order of presenting will be Mr. McMahon, Genji, Tabimura, Nakuso, and please be advised, there may be spoilers ahead. And with that said, let's get started. Question 1. Describe the game in 1 sentence.
Okay. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. It's Breath of the Wild on crack. Next.
All right.
So, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is arguably a generational Nintendo game, which runs where the other game walked. So, that's that. Join Link in a physics-breaking game in which you punch Ganon in the face with cooking utensils and gather your friends, which don't help you punch Ganon in the face with utensils. Also, a giant Power Ranger penis Megazord. Also, I own Nintendo stock, so I am biased. Next.
All right.
All right.
All right. The Legend of Zelda: Tear Me a New One is an upgraded version of the cult classic Legend of Zelda: Breathing Heavily. It takes everything that made the first game great, further expands upon it, giving players the ultimate freedom of creating anything they want in order to solve puzzles however they want. And like Genji said, you can also make really giant balls, cuck and balls. It's quite a entertaining experience. What about you, Nakuso? How would you describe the game?
Let's see. Tears of the Kingdom gives you a near limitless way to play your adventure as Link. Use your power to create penis vehicles, or fuse a toenail to your weapon for emotional damage. Your only limit is your imagination and the Switch hardware.
Dang. I like how all 3 of us just had balls in there. Not planned, by the way.
I didn't have balls. I had a penis.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the scientific term.
The
Plural.
Cinematic Video Game Book Club.
The PCU.
Cinematic Universe.
Can I change my sentence to Breath of the Wild but with cock and balls?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Oh.
All right, that's my sentence now.
All right. McMammy, how would you describe the game in 1 sentence?
It's Breath of the Wild with cock and balls.
All right. It's
that you
official.
can ride.
That you can ride. Okay. Yeah, adding some adjectives in there. I like it. All right. So let's move on to question 2. What platform did you play the game on? And briefly describe your playstyle towards the game.
Okay, so I straight up bought the Tears of the Kingdom edition OLED Nintendo Switch on
Hell
release.
yeah.
Sold my
Woo.
life and soul to the game until Ganondorf was 6 feet under. So starting from the beginning, as soon as the tutorial had ended, I made a beeline for the Zora domain, only to find that Sidon's hot sister is in fact not in this game.
Dang.
Sag. I was very swiftly distracted from my crippling depression from how much fun I was having just goofing around, completing shrines, completing things, creating wacky experiments out of the weapons and Zonai shenanigans. I tried my best to focus on the main story, but just like I'm sure everyone else here, I know I couldn't have been the only one that was like a puppy diagnosed with ADHD playing this game. Getting distracted by the smallest things every 2 to 5 minutes.
Mhm.
But unlike in Breath of the Wild, I didn't quite feel the urge to engage in every combat opportunity I saw. Instead, I was actually compelled to avoid combat scenarios every chance I could get. The rewards just didn't feel worth it to me, and I felt like I had better things to do. And so because of this, I opted to level up my hearts to around 12 just to survive like the boss fights and stuff. And then dump the rest of my resources into stamina.
You monster.
And I know, right?
Disgusting. I respect it, though.
Elden Ring out here.
Elden Ring.
And doing this, it was a fantastic idea, in my opinion, as it made my exploration and story progression to be more
What?
Story progression,
Yeah.
a much more enjoyable experience. I won't go into crazy detail about my playthrough, but I will say that after beating the game, I got into duplicating materials, and that is a glitch, by the way.
In-game feature. Unplanned.
Unintentional.
Yep.
And this is when the game became absolutely nuts for me. I went ahead, I maxed out my battery capacity, and the possibilities with my Zonai creations became just limitless. I began creating things of all shapes and sizes, optimized for battle and destruction. Yes, cock and balls. Then I'd go into the underworld and wreak havoc on everything in sight. It was absolute madness, and I was in heaven. I was having way too much fun with all that Zonai crap. But anyway, that was more or less my playstyle. Next.
So before I get into my playstyle, I need to preface by saying Breath of the Wild sucked. It was a horrible, horrible experience. I beat the first giant walking creature thing, whatever that has the temple on it. I beat that, the water one, and I did not play any more of it. The first game was just a load of cock and balls. So anyway, Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay.
I played it on the system. I played it on my girlfriend's Switch, launch model, opposed to my Switch because she bought the game for herself, and I very promptly took it from her and addictively played it over the course of 3 weeks, whatever it took me to beat the game. I played it on a Pro controller, and I also played it on a red and blue set of Joy-Cons. I promptly got put into the game, and I had no idea where I was going, so I ventured over to the lava dungeon area of the map. Proceeded to get my ass handed to me multiple times, and then realized I had no idea where I was going. So my partner sat with me on the couch, and she told me I probably should have gone to the place that they were telling me I should have gone to begin with. So I proceeded to make my way there. Um, beat that and proceeded to realize how much fun the game is. I hate the idea of weapons breaking, which turned me off of Breath of the Wild, but in here I was having so much fun, combining weapons together and getting a sword with a giant rock on the end, or just all that kind of thing. I felt I had a blast combining things. I spent very little time underground. I worked on getting a bunch of hearts, and then I realized that, hey, the Master Sword needs 2 stamina bars. So I proceed to speak to the devil, change my hearts for stamina, go and I then got the Master Sword, and then proceed to see the devil again and change that stamina back to hearts. I proceeded to whack Ganon in the face. I did attempt it with a soup ladle, realized that wasn't going very well. Teased the final boss fight, spent very little time underground, then ended off by making a giant penis Power Rangers Megazord, basically like our Power
Yeah.
Rangers episode. And that's pretty much my experience with the game. I didn't spend much time underground, didn't really spend much time with the side missions. I was just too addicted to trying to beat the game. And for context of how addicted I was literally playing the game up until about 10 minutes before I started work, and then
Dang.
I ran to work in order to try and get there on time because I was like, no, I need to beat Ganon and punch him in the face. So take it
Dang,
away,
Genji.
Kimura.
So you're a tardy because of this game. Or no, you're
Oh.
almost,
I
right?
was almost tardy, but thankfully I can walk to my workplace in 10 minutes. I can run there surprisingly faster.
Dang. Imagine one of these days. So hopefully it never happens, but one of these days someone gets fired because they were playing a game for VGBC.
Worth it.
Worth it. 100%.
Honestly, someone will be listening to the podcast on driving to work or something. They'll end up in a car crash because they were too busy laughing at one of the stupid things one of us says.
I like it.
We'll be responsible for a death one day. I promise you that.
Dang. All right. Seal of approval? Question mark?
Genji seal of approval.
Genji seal
For the
of
next 5
approval.
years.
Podcast was so
If
good, I ended up dying
You'll,
from it.
you'll die.
Jeez.
If not, you'll buy. Otherwise, you'll buy some Nintendo stock.
There you go. Yeah, buy some Nintendo stock. All right. For me, I played The Legend of Zelda Tear in Your Eye on the special edition Zelda OLED Switch, similar to Mr. McMahon Meat. But, it's a huge but, massive but. I played it primarily in docked mode with the Switch Pro controller because I am a degenerate who decided to stream the whole game on Twitch. Meaning, I didn't even get to experience the whole journey using that beautiful OLED screen. So I bought a new Switch without even using the main function of the new Switch, which is the OLED screen. So very shameful, I will say. But
Very gangster.
very gangster. Sure, that's another way to put it. In terms of playstyle, I focused primarily on the main story quests whenever I came across them, sprinkled in a few side quests here and there. Special shout out to Terrytown side quest with Hudson and his family. Truly made me feel like I was going to tear up in the kingdom. I also went for a health-only upgrade build to prove to Mr. McMahon Meat that I didn't believe in stamina. Only to slightly regret it later down the line when I found out you actually did need stamina. 2 bars to be exact. I thought you guys are joking about, oh man, he's in for a surprise. And then I realized, oh my God, you actually need stamina to pull out the Master
Every
Sword.
day I'd be like, hey, how's your stamina looking?
But luckily I think unintentionally, people in chat start to tell me about it. So that's how I found out. But it would have been funny though if I actually got to the sword, try to pull it out and just like fail.
I was waiting for that moment.
Yeah, fortunately,
Darn.
it didn't happen. Everyone informed me right away. I explored the entirety of the map, unlocked all the Skyview towers. But honestly, I definitely feel like I still missed a lot in the game. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. I feel like I missed out on story quests, side quests, armor pieces, weapons, secret areas, etc. I will admit, a lot of it also is my own fault. We had 3 months to play this game. It was announced back in the middle of May, back during the Kill It With Fire VGBC. But instead, I went with the poor decision of starting the game a month ago, mostly because I wanted to finish the other VGBC games. And honestly, I'm never doing that again. I feel like I did myself a great disservice by not spending more time with this game. Similar to Elden Ring, I believe this is one of those games that you should really take your time with. Like, this is a game that I personally really wanted to take my time with, but regardless, I still had an awesome time playing this and sharing my experiences with everyone on Twitch. It's just, I wish I had more time with the game. A lot of that's self-inflicted, and I'm never doing that again. If I decide to participate in a long-form game, that long-form game will be my priority going forward. So that's just me. I'm like, I beat myself up about it too, because there was so much I still wanted to do, but I just couldn't because ran out of time. But what about you, Nakaso? What was your playstyle for the game?
I played it on a Nintendo Switch with a Nintendo Switch Pro controller. My Nintendo Switch had the Breath of the Wild skin that I got at GameStop back in 2017.
Hey, wow. Dude, send me a picture. Send me a picture later.
Oh, okay. I thought I sent you. Oh, I guess I never showed you.
No, I don't think you did.
Well, yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
basically played it, but I played the dock, so. I mean, it looked nice on the dock.
Okay.
And I collected around 80 hours it took doing various side quests, shrines, and exploration while going through the main quest. My main playstyle were weapons. I used anything at the start I could get my hands on. Like the fabled beehive and stick. It's like so many different combinations I wanted to see with the fuse ability.
Mhm.
Puzzles, I rarely did them in like any way that made sense. But I think that's really what the developers intended for the player. And like the world bosses, oh man, I fought some. I beat many, but I died horribly to the Gleeoks, which are the
Dang.
3-headed dragons in the overworld.
Oh God.
I got destroyed, but it taught me something.
What did it
It
teach?
taught me to never have hope. So anyway, I went onwards to the. I did quite a bit of the skies. And also the depths, I spent some time in getting a lot of resources just to increase my battery, and also doing the other stuff that's down there. Chanting Rock and Stone, since we were also playing
Respect.
Deep Rock Galactic
Mhm.
while down there mining. And it was great. I love the depths. It was like super cool just to see what to find down there. Like there's different arenas and boss fights, different structures, giant monsters. It's pretty nice. I lived in the depths. That's the meme on
Born in the
Tubby's stream.
depths. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
And then for the most part, like a lot of side quests, I try to do as much as I could before tackling on the main quest. So usually I give myself like 5 hours between doing the main quest and just messing around, creating vehicles, seeing like what I can do in the world, diving from giant heights, seeing if I can survive. It's a classic.
Class.
And it was all great. I enjoyed my time with the game a lot.
Let's move on to question 3. What is one thing you liked about the game?
Okay. I mean, honestly, there's so much to talk about in this.
Oh,
but when it came to the one thing that I liked about this game, the first thing that came to mind was the puzzles. The shrines and the temples and Breath of the Wild were great. But with the introduction of new powers and abilities in Tears of the Kingdom, the shrines and temples in this game were less about combat and focused more on solving puzzles with creativity. Completing a shrine, regardless of how difficult it was, always left me with that feeling of like, oh geez, that was great. Let's do it again, you know? And I absolutely love that there is so much room for creativity that it always felt like there was no one right way of completing a puzzle. This was especially even more apparent to me after watching Tubby Morris play through on Twitch. And I know for a fact that I completed a good majority of the puzzles using unconventional methods.
Hell yeah.
And by going through the non-intended route. But doing so, it contributed to that feeling of accomplishment at the end of a shrine or a temple. And I enjoyed these puzzles so much that I would spend my time after unlocking a new area on the map just doing nothing but marking shrines and just completing them. And I'd planned on unlocking completing all the shrines in the game, but I'll get around to it when I'm done being distracted by all the other shenanigans. But anyway, yeah, there are so many things that I adore about this game, but the shrine and temple puzzles are one of the ones that really stood out to me the most. Next.
So, I could sort of touch on, like you sort of talked about it really well, and that about the shrines and the temples and all that kind of thing. Was going to talk about the crafting aspect and how fantastic it is to be able to craft stuff in that feature. But I just genuinely, the one thing that stopped me from playing Breath of the Wild, which made me hate the game so much, was the change in the temples. And I know that Breath of the Wild sold really well, and I know that this is where Nintendo's heading, and that, but I'm really glad to have seen them go back to like a sort of main temple style thing for each major sort of like area. The thing, I've only beaten a couple of Zelda games, and still to this day, my favorite Zelda game, and that's just for nostalgia, is Phantom Hourglass. I absolutely loved playing that as a kid. And the one thing I really liked about that was the dungeons and temples and that sort of thing. And while, yes, they made the argument previously that the shrines were like your mini style dungeons or temples or whatever, I just really like the return to form of having this one set temple. And with the introduction of the different powers and that, it was cool because you could approach it in different ways. So it still allowed for that creativity. I know I completed some of those things in ways I was not meant to complete. And I absolutely loved one of it where I used the ascend ability, which I kept forgetting existed. But I was on like the first floor or something, and there was a floor above me. I used my ascend. I popped up, and straight away there was an enemy looking directly at me. I literally appeared like 5 centimeters, or whatever the American conversion for that is. I literally popped up right in front of the enemy, and it had myself, my partner, laughing so much because it was just so much. It was just so hilarious, and just the fun of the powers, but also just that return to more traditional style Zelda dungeons. I feel like it was the best of both worlds with that.
Mhm.
So anyway, that is me. Take it away, Tubby Moore.
And those are some good ones.
Mm.
Okay. I mean, I 100% agree with both of you on your things you like, and honestly, that's like the biggest thing I like about the game too. But just for the sake of not repeating what everyone else has said, one thing that I will say, and I know this is like such a small thing in the whole discussion about Tears of the Kingdom, but I freaking love the daytime mechanic and how the NPCs, just the way the world is laid out in these towns. Terrytown. Just Terrytown. It's just amazing. The thing that makes Zelda games quite special, and I think this is not talked about enough, is the way Nintendo depicts these towns, these small little towns in every single one of these Zelda games, including Tears of the Kingdom, is phenomenal. Each of the NPCs, maybe I'm gonna be on the verge of sound like a creeper here, but I would actually like just like stand around and just watch what the NPCs are doing, where they're going at different times of days, and it's just interesting. Like such a small detail that they actually programmed an entire NPC's day out of what they were gonna do. Just like in Kakariko Village, that family, and every time in the morning they'd always go visit their mother, who's the mother's grave. I just thought it's like such a small thing, but it like provides so much immersion in the world. Like you can just get yourself lost in the world and these towns, and just seeing how like a lot of the NPCs, they just don't have generic dialogue. They actually talk about other NPCs maybe across the world, or they have like active, ongoing relationships that might connect to a side quest or a story quest or something. It's just amazing how I think that's one of Nintendo's strongest strong suits when it comes to these Zelda games is the world building. Like I feel like that's not talked about enough. People always focus on like the dungeons and everything, which is amazing. Of course, Zelda's known for that, but I got to give props to the design team for making these immersive towns and giving it so much background. Just like freaking what town's that called? Hateno Village, right? Just
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, the one that has all the mushrooms everywhere. I was just like, what the heck is happening? And then you find out it's because some fashionista has moved in. I'm like, that's so stupid. Everyone's wearing mushroom hats, but I know I just had a huge smile on my face because I was like, yeah, I guess it makes sense why social media influencers made it to the Zelda game apparently. But no, that's something I really respect. I love it when games do that. And yeah, that's my jab at Genshin Impact. What about you, Nuxo?
So one thing I loved about this game, and it's just not this game, it's just the way that the game mechanics play. So like the Ultra Hand and like the Fuse and the Ascend. I just love that the way it gives the player so much creativity to do each thing their way. Like nothing's going to be the same. Nothing's, watching Tubby stream, this is like became really apparent. Like literally every puzzle he did was completely different. I mean, there was some weird stuff happening. A lot of long sticks.
Hey,
a lot of long sticks getting to places. I was really impressed, like how long you could actually make.
Me too.
How you were on the Zora Temple.
Yeah, the
water temple.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember you making like that long pathway just to get up to like the top place. It's just so weird. It was like, wow, you could actually do that. It's like this stuff. They just give you so many different ways to play, like so many fuses, like so many possibilities that you can use. A toenail and a weapon, like this is so dumb, but I like it.
Yeah,
it feels like I know I say this a lot, and it just comes off weird. I'm gonna say weird, but it's just how I feel these days. Like I can tell when a game, it feels like a video game. Like it's just not something that's just put out, just to the masses. It's just you can tell there's a lot of
mm-hmm.
Like it's just trying like so hard to just be a standard game. It's just a lot of love put into it and a lot of fun. It doesn't take itself super seriously, and it just like all the ways you can just create stuff. It gives a lot of players who who might like different games like Minecraft or even like Fortnite, like that building aspect, right? It probably drew in a lot of those players, just to play like Zelda for the first time and just discover the series. So, like with the issues it does have, and like, there's like definitely stuff that could be improved. I just think they did a phenomenal job incorporating all of this. Like ascending anywhere, it's just the mobility. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be so hard
Hard to go back.
in the next Zelda game because it's just gonna be hard to readjust. But I just love how this game, like many other Zelda games, just has its own unique mechanics for that particular game. It was just cool how they handled this one, basically increasing everything about Breath of the Wild tenfold and going all out with it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a joke that me and Tubby say. It's really impressive how they added all these game mechanics on a Switch without it dying. It's like I just don't know how they did this in a way that there's barely like any super game breaking bugs or bug. Like, I mean, there was like that one part you got stuck in a minecart,
but man, if any other game developer other than Nintendo attempted to make something of that scale with this many in-game systems, the game would be terrible on launch. It would be crashing all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's just
definitely.
They've optimized like crazy. It's pretty great actually.
That's all I want to say. Awesome.
Question 4. What is one thing you did not like and how would you improve it?
So as wonderful and fantastic as this game is, a game this vast is bound to have its flaws. And boy, did it have flaws. I remember playing through the game and taking mental notes of all the little things I didn't like and I wish I could improve, just as I played. And this mental list got so long that I'd forgotten most of it at this point. But while there were many things I didn't like about the game, they were all really minor things. They didn't bother me like all too much. I just look at it and be like, that sucks. I wish they would change it, but it's fine the way it is, I guess. And then, but then the pros still outweigh the cons by miles. And among my mental list of dislikes, the one that sticks out to me the most is the lack of quality of life. But while that's what sticks out to me the most, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to talk about it, because I'd rather talk about something else.
Dang.
That's something else being the lack of a certain someone's presence in Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, shoot.
A certain fishy individual. A certain someone whom Link cared for deeply in the past. A certain someone who crafted the legendary Zora armor by hand, especially for Link. A certain someone who meant a lot to me. Instead, all we got is a dumb statue and her obnoxiously friendly and charming brother. If you haven't figured it out, I'm talking about Mifa, that hot goddess. How would I fix this? Put Mifa in the freaking game.
Bring her back to life.
Res her. I don't care. Put her in the game.
It doesn't even have to make any sense. Just put her in there.
That's how I do it. It doesn't matter how you do it. Just do it. So how would I actually fix it though? I'd make a DLC for this game where you go into the past and you can go on quests with all the different champions from Breath of the Wild, and these quests would be like the main story quests in this game, where the sages actually accompany you on your journey to completing their temples and whatnot. Except instead of the sages, it'll be the champions from Breath of the Wild. But then, upon completing the quests, you can summon the spirits of the champions from Breath of the Wild to accompany you, and you could have the option to have their abilities in place of the sage abilities.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, and so, for example, like if I don't want Sidon's dumb bubble water blast or whatever, I can swap him out for his hot sister and resurrect like upon death, like you would in Breath of the Wild. But anyway, that was my one big gripe with this game, and that's how I'd fix it.
I can just hear the pain in your voice. I can't even see it right now, but I could just imagine like a tear dropping.
I'm crying.
Yeah, it sounded like it. Are you okay, man? You'll be okay there? Fine. All right.
Okay.
Don't worry. We'll talk about it later. Don't worry, man.
Sure.
All right, Genji.
Next.
What about you?
Nintendo and all these, and PlayStation and Xbox having all these different controllers with X for the bottom and A for the left, and A, B, C, D for the bumpers and that. It's too. I'm getting old. I'm 26. I'm 27 this year. It's too fucking confusing.
Getting old.
The thing that annoys me about the game is just the whole friends button layout. Your companions. I'm like, what? I'm in the middle of a fight and I have to go up to the one and ask them for consent in order to use their fucking powers. Like, what is this crap? Like, why do I need to go up to them and go, excuse me, guy who's Rocco from Awesome Noughts, why do I need to ask your permission in order for you to have an electric field around me so I can shoot my arrow and electrocute these
Yes,
people?
cook.
Why do I need to do this? Surely no one at Nintendo was like, hey, why don't we have the player hold down a button and it pops up with each of the people's thing attached to it. So I can maybe hold down the thumbstick, I could hold down one of the bumpers, and then I can press, I don't know, Q, which is wherever the bottom button is on the Switch controllers, and then that has the Rocco's Lightning activate. Why? I cannot say the amount of times I was in combat and I'm like, hey, it would be great to use insert someone's ability. Oh, I have to go and talk to them. Oh, I'm dead now. Why? Why do I need consent before I use the powers? It is frustrating because, especially the way the final boss was handled, which again is another complaint. Like, why don't you have your friends helping you kick Ganon's ass before he turns into a giant fucking dragon? But that's a whole nother complaint. But why can't these things just be assigned to a button that I hold down and then I can select it while middle of combat? Because the problem then is they're walking around fighting that. I'm trying to run up to one. Because of the switch, certain characters then fade into the background or they move around in that. And then I'm suddenly using the water ability or the wind ability when I'm trying to electrocute the little guy. Like, yeah, it's just frustrating. And the whole button layout, the amount of times I'd be climbing on something, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to press this button. Oh, I've just fallen off the thing now because for some reason, every single developer needs to have their buttons on different layouts, which isn't the same as the whole button layout for the whole thing of why it can't be streamlined. But again, why can't controllers just be streamlined? Ugh, it's so
Or does
annoying
that?
in that.
They can also add a keybind, so you could keybind
Yeah.
the buttons to your
Yep.
liking.
Yeah, that would be so much better. Like a key binding, like just like we always talk about accessibility and we praise games for being accessible to players. You've got on PlayStation and Xbox your accessibility when it comes to colorblind, to text size, to all these things. We're focusing on all these sort of things, but yet there's apart from these fancy controllers that PlayStation are releasing with the and Xbox, like the Pro controllers or the controllers that PlayStation's releasing later this year with the whole circular thing, which as someone who works in a school and works with different students who've got different challenges and that's something like physical challenges, different like autism, ADHD, all that kind of thing, and then your physical aspects, like just having the accessibility to bind different buttons to a controller, having different things would be fantastic, would make things so much easier. But my main frustration comes with the fact that they didn't you have to talk to your companions before you can use their abilities. And in combat, that's not what I want. I want to be fast. I want to be snappy. I want to be able to hold a button, press Y, and then suddenly the entire enemy's been blown off a cliff. So, anyway, that's my complaint, and that's me done for that one. So
Okay, so
You can go now,
There's
Tubby.
something I want to add. There's actually something I want to add to that. Apparently, I'm going to reconfirm this with my Manny and Tubby. In Breath of the Wild, could you actually use your powers yourself without? Could you actually do what Genji is saying in Breath of the Wild with the champions?
I believe you could, but again, McMammy, back me up here. I think you could only equip one at a time, right?
I can't recall. I honestly can't recall, but I think you might be right about that, Tubby.
I could have sworn it was like you equip one, and then many times it'll just activate by itself. And then there's a really
like
long
passive.
cooldown. There's a really long cooldown on a
Really
lot of
long.
these.
Like
Yeah.
it's great that you've got all your companions with you. Like I thought that was fantastic, and it made sense to have them all with you, and that was great. It's just really frustrating because you've got them all with you. to add the variety to the combat, you want to be able to just jump back and forth between powers and that, but you have to run up to them in order to talk to them for their power to activate. It's very clunky, it's not fluid, and it really
Mhm.
just makes me go, well, I don't want to have to try and include them in combat because I'm going to get hit, I'm going to take damage.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that was it was very, very apparent in the first final gauntlet, like the sort of and near the end of the game, we had all the gauntlets of enemies. It was a pain trying to
Oh
talk
yeah,
to use their
100% agree
powers.
with you. Yep.
Yeah, it was fine like when you've got one or two enemies, but when you're dealing with an entire room full, and then the fact that you've it's the final thing, so you can't go back and heal because you have to leave and you have to redo the fights and that, and the fact you don't have your companions with you for the final boss fights, which again doesn't make any sense. But I'm like, it's just really, really frustrating and doesn't feel good. And it is one of the major things that stands out as just frustration with the game, that it feels like they didn't actually consider or they didn't play test that part well
Yeah,
enough.
yeah. Honestly,
So
just way to fix it. We'll
yeah,
give you the
just
ability to
assign it.
automatically use their abilities.
Yeah,
Assign it to
you just
something.
hold down a bumper, then you can
Hmm.
press Y for the wind, or hold down the button and then press A, and then suddenly you've got the lightning. Like, it doesn't have to be straight away, but
Hmm.
just so that way you don't need to talk to them.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So cool. Take
Okay.
it away, Tuppy Moore.
Okay. I mean, McMahon Meat kind of referenced it earlier, but I'll just elaborate a little bit further. Quality of life. Quality of life changes. This is my biggest gripe with the game. Quality of life, especially with these longer running games, these 50+ hour games, you start to notice them, like McMahon Meat said. And the longer you play, the more painful it becomes that how did these changes not get past quality inspection? And it's just yeah, they start out as really small things. Some would even say it's nitpicks, but when you're doing the same tasks over and over again, and you're doing it at such a microscopic level, and you keep doing it repeatedly, it starts to turn into this big monstrous beast that you realize it needs quality of life changes to freaking put it down. I have a freaking huge list here. I'm gonna name some of them. First one, being able to select multiple items or food materials from the quick select so you can drop it into the cooking pot. One of the greatest things about the game is just mixing and trying different ingredients. It would be nice if you could quick select items from your quick select and just drop into the pot and see what works. But no, you have to keep pausing it and you have to keep selecting each of the materials manually. Some would argue you have recipes, but it's what if you don't have the recipes yet and you're in the experimental phase? Just stuff like that would be nice. Being able to massively produce cooked food would be amazing. That's something that people who played Animal Crossing on the Switch always wanted. And clearly, Nintendo still hasn't listened, because in this game, you still can't massively produce the same food. If you have 99 of the same material and you want to make the same specific food, just give the players the ability to mass cook it. With a game like this, for people like McMahon who are trying to 100% the game, give them, again, like I said in Elden Ring, give them the tools to help them with that. Be able to put notes or messages on the pinpoints, keep track of where you were, be able to sort locations on the map, sort it by town, sort it by the Koroks that you got in each area. I remember I was trying to search for a specific town for like 2 or 3 minutes, and I couldn't remember where it was, and then I realized, oh, it's over here. I had to freaking Google it because I lost track of where I was supposed to go. And then the amount of items and materials, it's so ironic because, we hail the game and it's amazing that you have all of these different materials and items you can fuse together. But my God, inventory management is terrible in this game. They give you some filters, the most recently used. You can sort it by attack power, but I wish there were more filters in this game. Maybe the type of item it is, be able to favorite certain items so you can always go back to those items immediately. Those would appear at the top of your list. It's just these are the things that I don't see a whole lot of people talking about, which is kind of strange because people keep.
I see that a lot.
Okay.
Reviews.
Okay, so people are mentioning it. Yeah.
Yeah. All these quality of life changes, and people mention this.
Yeah, and it's this stuff. It may seem very small and it may sound like I'm nitpicking, but it's again, when you have so many of these and you're playing for the game for like 100+ hours, it's like, why? You know, you want to give players the ultimate freedom to do anything they want, being able to fuse anything they want, but it's like, why are we fighting against these I would say these are very simple systems to implement. You know, I'm not a freaking game designer, but like this is like common stuff you would expect to see in games of this scale. So I'm surprised they didn't add that. And I'll just throw one more in there. When your bow breaks in the middle of combat, why doesn't it just automatically swap to the next bow? Why do I have to pause the game and re-equip a new bow? It's like,
that's your weapon and shield too.
Yeah, it's just like very basic game
like,
systems.
If you could set it to like lowest attack power, highest attack power.
Yeah, or something. Because it's like, it feels weird when you're in an intense fight.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It like throws you out of the flow.
Yeah. So it's just those things. Or even something as simple as when you shoot an arrow and you're using a material and you want to use that material again, just have it automatically use the same material without you having to press the up directional again. It's just like small things like that. I think it will go a long way. Again, how would I improve it? Just add those tweaks in there. Make the game more accessible. Kind of like what Genji was saying. There's amazing, awesome game systems in here, but quality of life, it seems to be where it's lacking, and hopefully they'll learn with their next game. But again, that's just me. And apparently, according to Noxo, apparently a lot of people feel the same way, which I'm glad.
All those quiet life changes are very common. People are surprised they didn't bring more stuff improved from Buffalo Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. So a lot of stuff you were saying, I definitely read and also seen in reviews. There was like this one review where it's like, I forgot who it was by, but it says like Tears of the Kingdom is an incredible game with like just like so many small issues that just add up.
Yes. Yeah. I'd agree. But what about you, Noxo? What's one thing you didn't like?
All right. I need everyone for this. Gather around.
I'm gathered.
So I need everyone to chime in. All right.
Okay.
So in previous Zelda games, we had fun characters, side stories, simple but effective plots. Everyone can agree, right? Right, Tubby? Paths of the games, like the characters, like side characters, your companions, and also like villagers. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
The plots are pretty much just like, they were effective. Not going too crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So since Breath of the Wild, or some may even argue Skyward Sword, the franchise has really started increasing the cinematic experience with cutscenes and voice acting. It's something I've been like loving, as it just gives you a different perspective than what we're used to with the series. Hyrule Warriors and like Age of Calamity spinoffs, while not canon, I found out, it does give more personality to the previous characters. Like after watching the very short cutscenes that I've seen from Tubby, showed me a stream of, I believe, wasn't it from Age of Calamity or Hyrule Warriors? You were showing me like Rivali and
Age of Calamity.
Okay,
Rivali or Bosa.
So all that is like, it was like, oh my god, this is awesome. So they were like pretty much, even if it's not canon, they're building off the previous personalities and how the characters acted, in Breath of the Wild. Pretty much. So I really wanted that potential to be carried into Tears of the Kingdom. Like the startup was awesome. Your Link, Zelda, adventuring together on a Hyrule castle, and eventually you run into Ganon, and it escalates into both of them getting separated. You're introduced to Rauru, who is responsible for saving Link and Zelda, and I was like really excited to see where this was headed. You go to the Sky Islands, discover a whole new area about the refounding or founding of Hyrule with the first king. It really lets the players speculate, and like it honestly got me interested to see more. Like as we play, you're introduced to Lookout Landing, which is like the main hub in Tears of the Kingdom, and from there, your goal is to help each nation. So from there, everyone, it seems like it's a great start. You get separated with Zelda, your Master Sword, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So now. I can't believe that throughout this whole game, I mean, it made it worse because after you told me, Tubby, about the previous characters, for some reason, I thought, even though they were in the previous game, I thought Unibo, Tulin, Sidon, and Riju. Well, I think Sidon excluded because I actually did do his
Yeah.
the Zora part.
Mhm.
He was like the most prevalent in terms of like the story. I know the other characters were there, but they were of course much younger since this takes place like 6 or 7 years or something.
Mhm.
So I really wish they did more with them, especially Sidon. I feel like he got sidelined the most, even though he was like probably the one who had the most potential. I know when you were doing it, you also felt the same way.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. Especially with
I
Sidon.
don't. How about you, McMahon? How did you feel about Sidon in this game? Did you feel like he had more potential in the story, especially coming from Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially seeing that he's a returning character. I feel like they could have done much more building with him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
same as Unibo too. It's kind of
Mhm.
like it's weird because they were in the previous game, but you felt so disconnected from them in this game. Like the story just happened so quickly with them, and I'm sure you're gonna elaborate more on it. So I'll let you
Mhm.
I'll let you keep cooking
Oh
here.
yeah. Okay. So the good thing you brought that up, because yeah, honestly, each character, this time spent with them was way too short. Even I didn't complete Breath of the Wild, just letting anyone who listens know that I played about like 40% through the game. And it's just crazy. I was like watching this. I was like, wow, that's it. Like really with Unibo,
Yep,
like it had this cool like arc. Oh my god, he was corrupted by the rock crack.
yep. The rock crack, the villain arc.
I was like, oh my god. So like the whole game, I was thinking like at least until the boss when you can like free him. Like maybe like throughout that whole time he's just like acting like a jerk to you, or like
Mhm.
just like causing like issues. It was like there's so many things like with Riju. I feel like Riju was like the best out of all of them. Like I feel like he spent the most time with her leading up to the temple and completing it. Sidon, I don't know why they did that to him. I mean, I feel like he was like literally for like half of that part, he was just stationed, keeping the ooze at bay.
Yeah, Mifa's ooze.
Yeah, Mifa's ooze at bay. And Tulin, I mean, I liked him, but after
F that
like
guy.
knowing, no, after knowing, like I thought he was like like all these characters I thought were just like improvements from the previous game, and it's like they just were really fleshed out and they're just continuing to be. But after Tubby told me that, you know, basically everything what Tulin is doing is like Boruto apparently, where he's just like gifted and everything, and
Yeah,
you
hell yeah,
know.
dude.
So I mean, I really would love to have all these characters, you know, fleshed out more. And how would I fix that? Actually having the characters come with you. As much as I love having their spirits, I honestly feel that if we had the characters come with you, giving you insights onto Hyrule, how it's changed the last like 5 or so years,
Mhm.
what they've been dealing with, and like how they're learning to use their new powers throughout the whole game, and you know they could have like even more temples, like just upgrading their powers instead of having to go randomly into the sky finding
Dude,
upgrades.
that'd be
That's
amazing. Mhm.
yeah, I'm just like, oh, and it hurts because I feel like the cutscenes leading up to each character's dungeon is good, incorporate some of their power, personality. However, dungeon cutscenes for them, as everyone knows here, share similarities on how they're handled. It all talks about how Ganon he was evil,
Copy and paste.
and then they tried to fight him, but they lost, and Raru sacrificed himself. And then Zelda goes and asks that faction if she can help. And I'm like, after the first thing, I was like, okay, that's sick. I'm curious how the second one is. But then it's like when I seen the second one, I thought I was like tired because it was like late. I was playing this game late. I was like, is this the same cutscene?
Oh my
Oh my
god.
god, it's so bad. It's so bad. How did you feel, Genji, about the reused quote unquote cutscenes after you finish a dungeon?
I think I think you can skip the cutscenes. I'm pretty sure I skipped the cutscenes after like the second one because I walked away.
There you
'Cause
go.
I'm like, oh, okay. There, as soon as it was like Zelda shows up, oh, mystical warrior. I'm like, okay, goodbye, see ya. Like, I know how this is going to end. She's going to talk about how Ganon evil, Ganon bad, Zelda some mystical, magical, um, swordsman, friends with benefits, wherever Link is to Zelda, is going to come and save the world from
Mhm.
Ganon. And it's like I've
That's
seen this twice. I know this is
yeah.
how this is going to end. See ya. I also sort of building onto what you said before, Nikutsu. I barely remember many of the characters' names. I know there's Raru, I know there's Zelda and Link, and there's Ganon.
And Boruto.
I don't remember any of the other characters, like names,
Hmm.
apart from like Rocco. But I'm pretty sure that's from Awesome Nauts, not
No,
from Zelda.
no, you're right,
So
Rocco. I like it.
yeah, so I'm just like, yeah. No, I think that you're pretty spot on with your assessment, Nikut. So I
All
think
right,
you're right on the money.
I'm gonna continue because, all right, these cutscenes, this could easily be fixed because for some reason in this game, this is something I brought up to Tubby multiple times when he was streaming, and I said you should probably do this. Super important. It's this quest called the Dragon's Tears, or if you like play Breath of the
Hmm.
Wild, to play the memories of this game. And I was like, wow. After doing like each tier, it adds pretty much like a decent amount of story and history to like the past. A lot of stuff that Tubby was talking about, like, man, I wish I could see Ganon. Like, like I want to see him assaulting towns, and they actually show that. I know I keep wanting in like road time, but just talking about cussing wise, Tubby
Hmm.
talks about the Zelda's whereabouts. It talks about the past sages. It talks about Queen Sonya. And spoilers. I mean, obviously it's a spoiler because she's dead. Ganon kills her, and that scene was actually kind of surprising. Like when they showed it in a memory, because I actually didn't expect that. As a lot of these memories could have easily been incorporated into the dungeons, because a lot of sieges are also involved in a lot of these memories, and I think the cutscenes are actually really cool. They had the same style that she showed me, Tubby, in Hyrule Warriors and Age of
Mhm.
Calamity. They have that effort put behind it. So I was like, what? Are you serious?
Dang.
And one super important thing to the story that's locked behind the optional main quest that you find this whole time, Zelda was in the overworld since the start. So technically there were two Zeldas existing at one point in the game.
Oh, okay. That makes
So I make a
sense now.
request. You were sort of like talking about Nikutsu about the idea that sorry to sort of butt in about the idea that having seen like real time Ganon destroying towns and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It'd be really interesting because you had Super Mario Bowser's Fury where you've got like giant Bowser sort of in real time doing stuff. You could
Mhm.
imagine like
Yeah.
a Zelda game where you've got like in the style of Bowser's Fury, where you've just got a giant Ganon and he's just sort of going around the mainland destroying stuff, and if he sort of catches you, sort of thing, could
Oh,
be a
that
really
was so
interesting.
sick.
Yeah,
That'd be
that could actually be
cool.
a really cool sort of build on from like where they could go to from like the whole if you had like Bowser's Fury mixed with like Zelda and have that idea of Ganon in real time destroying places.
The funny
Oh
thing
my god.
is, the funny thing too is like we know it's in the game. Well, not the giant Ganon thing, but we know that they programmed it where the villagers can fight off the enemies. I just really wanted, kind of like what Nox was saying, I just really wanted a segment where, especially towards the end of the game, when crap's hitting the fan, like all of the villages are being attacked at the same time. Like you really see Ganon's presence, like he's really going all out with his final
Mm.
attack. Because just imagine like Terrytown or Hateno Village, like there's panic on the streets, everyone's freaking out. Just like those iconic moments. I know it's a lot of work, but just making the whole world in peril at the
And
same
maybe like
exact time.
the towns you go to where you complete like this major side mission maybe of each town,
Yeah.
those villagers will come to your aid like for a
Yeah,
fight
or
against Ganon or
something.
something.
Because if you've noticed
And
in
just
every,
bring
go ahead, Genji.
no, go on.
Because if you notice in every single Zelda game, we always see the before and the after of Ganon's attack. We have never been in the middle of Ganon's attack. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
So
they're going to include the side missions and all that, and they've sort of got they've got Nintendo experience with like Bowser's Fury and that. It could be really interesting to see that in the middle kind of thing where you've got Ganon attacking villages, the villages you've helped with the side missions, to actually make there be a real need to do the side missions. Like they come to your aid to make the battle easier.
oh,
And
that's a
just
good
really,
one. Okay.
yeah.
That would be great.
That'd be awesome.
That could take it to the next level where you can sort of think like being in the middle and being there for Ganon like destroying.
Yeah, like depending on how much you've
Like,
helped people, there'll be more people that
Yeah.
show up at the end.
because
Oh,
yeah.
I did like no side missions at all, really. So in my instance, I'd have no one really helping me. So that could make the final boss fight against Ganon really, really difficult, or the fending off of Ganon's forces or whatever. But
Mhm.
then for anyone who's like for you guys who did more side missions, you would have those sort of characters of those towns. Like, could you imagine the influencer and all the town wearing mushroom hats fighting like Ganon with all their mushroom hats?
That'd be amazing. That'd be
It'd just be
beautiful.
that
great.
sort of thing to take it to the next level. Like if we're talking about open world Zelda games, and and they've sort of built upon the previous game, they need to keep building on. And what could they see next? Well, actually implement the side missions and have that as a meaningful aspect of the universe assisting with the Battle of Ganon
Yeah. No.
because it
That
impacts everyone.
might
So,
be Shadows of Mordor.
mm,
I'm not sure if you played that game, but it's like you have
yeah,
factions you can go to
yeah,
and all that stuff.
Man.
yeah, I did. So,
There's a lot.
And honestly, Toby, the whole dragon in the sky, when you find out through the memories, it has such an emotional impact once you do, because it's like you had to piece it together, then you figure out that Zelda swallowed that stone of consent. And transform into that dragon. It's like when I found that out, it was like I was just like in go mode just to get that master sword, like this F everything else. Because I was like I was just so like surprised that they went that route. And they also talk about that stone being irreversible. And I was like, wow, really? I asked you to go this route. I was like, that is really awesome. And all of that is thrown out of the window at the end of the game because of the biggest ass pull I've seen in a while with Raru and Queen Sonya somehow carrying Zelda, even though Raru dissipates after helping Link early on in Sky Island. For some reason, he comes back. And what makes it worse is Impa. She says she's gonna like look for a way to help the dragons, but that never happens.
whereas I didn't get any of those things to find out that happened to Zelda. I just looked up how to get the Master Sword, went and did that, got the sword, and then my partner was getting all the things only from sitting there watching. I was like, oh, that's what happened. So I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So much opportunity.
So the different experiences and that. So
What a shame.
Dude, they should have just let, and it makes this is like to end it off. It makes it sad is that there isn't really any sense of loss in this game, like previous Zelda games. And I'm not just talking about death, but like I honestly feel like it's just a super happy ending, which is fine. But it's like, what if the sequel to this is like helping Impa try and kill all the dragons that's in the sky, and I was just like, Zelda is just like stuck in that form for like the end of this game to end it on, at least.
no, I was gonna say, in just her mindless dragon form where she doesn't remember like anything, even though she sort of tries to protect, like help you out, but she's just a mindless dragon. And sort of like that thing of like she remembers like nothing to try to do your best to like bring her back to, Zelda.
Yeah. Oh my god, there's just like so many things that could have just continued on. And it's just like it's like just a happy ending. And you know what? That would be fine. That would be fine. But you have Link at the end looking with like like barely any emotion. He didn't even kiss Zelda. It was like the perfect opportunity to kiss, to say one word, to do anything, but he just looks dead faced. He doesn't even smile. He doesn't even like shed a tear. And I don't know why, but
no tears in the
for some
kingdom.
reason, that's the effort behind the potential that they set up with. It's just like it was just lost.
Yeah.
And it is actually that honestly that's actually my biggest gripe with the game. Like I have other stuff, but that is like for some reason does that potential, well, it has impacted my enjoyment overall.
Throwing out the window.
And that is my TED Talk for this VGBC.
Question 5. What is your final verdict and final rating from 0 to 10 using a 0.5 scale? Mr. McMahon, take it away.
Okay.
All right.
The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. What a ride!
Yeah.
There is so much to be said about this wonderful masterpiece of a game, yet so little time. Also, I may be slightly biased as Legend of Zelda series holds a special place in my heart. Fun fact, my wedding ring was actually a Legend of Zelda theme ring.
Dang.
That said, it's dangerous to go alone engraved on the inside. Pretty badass.
It's beautiful. It's badass. Manly.
Oh, hell yeah. It's gone now. But anyway, regardless of that, one can't deny that this game is a fantastic experience that will leave you with fun memories and craving for more. From the pleasant audio, the stunning visuals, the unique art style, and gameplay, it all made for the ultimate concoction of awesomeness. And although, in my opinion, it's strong, one-of-a-kind gameplay is where Tears of the Kingdom really stands out. And there is so much to do and so much to explore that it feels like beating the main storyline is only scratching the surface of the game. And had Tears of the Kingdom implemented more quality of life features, like the ones that Tabimura was emphasizing on, like favoriting materials or even
filters,
just adding Mifa into the game.
There we go.
Then it'd be an easy 10 out of 10 for me. But until those things are added, I will be giving The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom a 9.5 out of 10. Next.
Okay.
Zelda Breath of the Wild. That game was compared to this game. The fact that you can combine weapons together, you can combine materials together to make, really fun weapons, actually addressed the issue I have when it comes to weapon durability. Is a system I hate so much. I hate it in Dying Light. I hate it in everything because it's a stupid system. But the fact that you can actually craft, craft and create different weapons actually makes me enjoy it because it gives me a reason to try out different weapons because I'm like, cool, what weird concoctions can I come up with? The fact that you have the reintroduction more sort of dungeons, and the fact that you can make a giant penis Megazord.
Okay.
So a giant penis Megazord
Mm-hmm.
really sealed the deal for the fun I had with the game. I did not like how Ganon was handled in the game. I did not like the fact that your companions aren't used to help fight him for one of the final fights. I feel like that's a missed opportunity. And the layout of the companions when it comes to trying to use them, I feel like is a very frustrating thing, which detracted from my enjoyment of the game. Ultimately, I've not played a huge amount of Zelda games. The ones I have played, the one that still stands out as my favorite is Phantom Hourglass. I think that was an absolutely fantastic Zelda experience. Crucify me in the comments for that. I don't care. I'll fight each and every one of you with a soup ladle, just like I attempted to do with Ganon, which also didn't end very well. Ultimately, I will give Zelda, there are not a single tier in this kingdom, a solid 8.5 out of 10. Buy some Nintendo stock.
Yes, sir. All right, for me, The Legend of Zelda: Tear Me Apart is a fantastic game and a great follow-up to The Legend of Zelda Barely Breathing. Like the sense of freedom that the game just gives you it's just amazing. It's like such a simple yet game-changing mechanic, like the ability to fuse anything together and build practically anything you want is just genius. I've never seen it done to this level before. The amount of in-game systems, mechanics, and just natural layering of physics, interactions, the environment, it's just a sight to behold. Like this by itself makes tackling challenges, shrines, dungeons, and exploration like so much fun. I had a blast playing this game. Like finding solutions in the dumbest way possible just brought so much joy. I kid you not, I have not smiled this much while playing a Zelda game in a long time. It was just a sheer bundle of joy for me. And the fact that Nintendo was able to successfully hide an entire underground region from the player base up to its launch, it's just like, God, the misdirection is just so good. Like we were so focused on what was in the sky that we never even considered what was underground. It's just genius marketing. Now, as much as I praise the game, as you know, and as you can probably see by now, with how long the dislike portion of the video is, the podcast is, this game isn't perfect by any means. It's definitely missing a lot of quality of life changes that was mentioned in the previous section, such as the missing filters, food items, location filters, all that stuff, the in-game trackers. And as you also know, the Sage's AI and how they are used leave a lot to be desired as well. Like again, and kind of what Genji is saying, you should be able to activate their abilities without having to run all the way over to them and give them a firm handshake. But you know what? It's still a fantastic Zelda game. I highly recommend it to anyone looking for a fun open world experience, whether you are a fan of Zelda, the Zelda series or not. Which is why I am giving The Legend of Zelda Tear Me a New Butthole a 9 out of 10. What about you, Noxo?
Okay. So I want to preface this by saying, even though I had a lot of issues in Tears of the Kingdom, I still don't think the dungeons or temples are great besides it being in the actual overworld. I think that's fantastic and that should stay in the future. I'm still glad that it wasn't like the animal shrines from the previous game. They definitely reeled it back, testing feedback. Getting to the dungeon, I would argue, is like the most fun part of that experience. And all the characters, while cool, the story, while having so much potential, and just the way it kind of fell down to me. When I come from my favorite Zelda game, I always bounce between Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. I definitely feel they can look back at those games and just kind of reevaluate some things about it. I still enjoy the Ultra Hand, the ability to create anything, to give the player their expression and how to play the game that they want to is a fantastic idea. The ability to fuse the Ascend, having just so much time being saved, getting up to higher areas and tackling puzzles. The shrines being all unique and different, a complete and better improvement of the previous shrines where they feel really repetitive. This game, I feel, improves on so many aspects, adding a sky area, a depths area. And while the sky area and the depths aren't utilized as much as I would have loved for this game, especially since it's Tears of the Kingdom, I'm still impressed of how they incorporated all of this into one for a huge game. And even though I put 80 hours into it, there's still a lot of stuff that I didn't do. I had a blast playing through the game, like no matter what, and I also had a great time seeing other people play and seeing Tubby play the game. In the end, I am going to give this game a solid 8.5 out of 10. I would have also loved to see a lot of the quality of life stuff that Tubby and Genji and McMahon talked about. But overall, it's still a fantastic game. I can see why this is a lot of people's favorite Zelda game in general.
With that said, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom gets our final average rating of 88.8% or 35.5 out of 40. Enough of that. McMahon Meat, my good sir. Do you know what time it is, fellow gamer?
Bonus mystery question.
Bonus mystery question time. Bonus mystery questions were prepared ahead of time by everyone here, but no one knows who or what will be asking the question. Spinning the wheel in 3, 2, 1, spin. Oh my god.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Oh
Is it gonna
boy.
be- Ooh.
Oh shoot. All right.
Uh-oh. I'm not
Uh-oh.
ready.
I'm ready. I want to hear a weird question.
Get ready. Oh fuck, wait a second, I've got to come up with a question. Now that we've had at least 2 giant open world Zelda games, let's shorten the game down a bit. Kind of like we spoke about in the video. If you could confine the next Zelda game to like a single street, a small house, your backyard car park, where would it take place and what is the objective of Zelda and Link?
What? So just minimize the scope?
So we are taking so instead of having a giant open world like Breath of the Wild, like Tears of the Kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
Instead, the entirety of the next AAA Zelda game will take place on like a single street, a small suburban house, maybe a backyard.
I like it.
What is the objective of Link from Zelda, and why
That's in
is
the
it
chat.
taking place in that location?
That's an awesome question. All right. I like it. I like it. Okay. I'll go ahead and start the 60-second timer for us to think now.
Man, 1 minute is not nearly enough time for something like that.
Oh, yeah. I wish you the best of luck, man.
All right, but I'll do the honors of going first.
Okay.
Okay. First thing that came to mind, because right across from where I live, there's an elementary school, so I thought that would be a great setting for the next Legend of Zelda game.
Oh,
And
no.
what is the goal? That's a good question. I'm not quite sure just yet. Didn't get to that part of my brain, but I did come up with the idea of, Ganon or Ganondorf would be like a mean teacher, and Zelda and Link are students, and you would have the Ultra Hand ability, and you would be able to also like fuse weapons. And I just had this cool thought of just like attaching a ruler or a chair, like a desk chair, to a ruler.
I'm
just-
down.
right?
Calm down. This is turning into something.
Beating the goblins down with it. You go into the cafeteria, you like get a cafeteria tray, and you attach it to your shield or something, and just like grind down the hallways or something. So,
All right. Safe answer.
it was a really, really, really weird image in my head, but no specific goal. I guess just beat up Ganon with whatever you got. There is no Master Sword. You just use the stuff you find around the school. But yeah, that would more or less be my next game if I could place Zelda in a smaller setting. Next.
So my next Zelda game would be called The Legend of Zelda: The Four Corners, because it takes place on like a place that has four corners.
Okay.
And Zelda has been sealed away inside the walls of the ancient house by an ancient wizard called Dizzard. You can see
Dizzard.
it's very creative, Dizzard. So the goal is, I guess, each of the rooms is a little mini dungeon, and once you complete all the rooms, you get a key for the kitchen. And there's this like kitchen drawer that's been locked the entire time. You've not been able to open it. Once you get the key, you open it. Hey, the Master Sword has just been chilling in the kitchen the entire time in a drawer. Not sure how it got in there. Probably the work of Dizzard. And I hadn't thought about what's going on plot wise or what your goal is. I guess it's to stab Dizzard with the Master Sword. Ganon doesn't exist. And somehow that will release Zelda from inside the walls of, I guess, the house. You can probably incorporate different powers from Tears of the Kingdom, maybe a few new ones. Maybe one of the missions is Zelda has to vacuum the house. Maybe he has to clean some toilets. There might be a ability in order to speed up the cleaning somehow. And I'm not really sure where the game would go to from there. Maybe you can have some DLC that would give you access to the backyard, and maybe one of the fun new activities is you get to mow the lawn. I'm not really sure beyond that. I'm not exactly sure what my question was trying to achieve, but it sounded fun at the time. So, cheers.
60
Take it away,
seconds. Okay. I don't know how I came up with this idea in 60 seconds, but we'll just go for it. So, coming next year, fall 2024, holiday season, baby. The Legend of Zelda, Plunger of Destiny. So picture this, right? You know how Link and Zelda have that house in Hateno Village? You know, they're living happily.
Yeah.
They're, enjoying their time together. Well, this mother effer Ganon, he doesn't like that. He doesn't like their happiness. So what he's doing, and this is going to take place around their home, what he's doing is he's going around to every single place that is connected to a pipe, whether it's a toilet, the sink, and he's just taking a big, massive dump in each of those holes. So the objective of the game, of course, is to stop him from doing that. And the only way to do that is to put together the Plunger of Destiny. Because, Zelda games, you love when you put things together, especially 5 pieces, because that's a common theme in Tears of the Kingdom. So you need to go around your house, and Ganon has stowed away the 5 pieces of the Plunger of Destiny. And with that plunger, you will be able to unclog all the big shits that Ganon's been taking in all the in the toilets and in the sinks. You can finally unplunge it, and then you can finally murder Ganon with the plunger. That is the Legend of Zelda Plunger of Destiny. It's like a mixture of like a mini game, a little slice of life.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's an incredible experience. Oh yeah, seasonal DLC. We're gonna monetize it. I'll do battle passes every season. And yeah,
What?
Good God.
It's a mobile game.
Oh no!
What? We need more. You guys have phones. Everyone loves mobile games.
Excuse me, to be more, is this some out of season's April Fool's joke?
No, this is in season. This is December 2024. Dude, trust me, it will sell. People will like it. Why? Because it's Nintendo, and Nintendo can do no wrong. What about you, Nakaso?
Wow. Oddly enough, this idea was already done in The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap, which everyone should play because that's also a really great game. Anyway, my idea is, since it's going to be contained, I actually had this idea. I thought about this in the past, especially since it's not in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. What if, in the next Zelda game, you go into the Triforce?
Dang.
Because there has been no mention of the Triforce, and this is like the current game in the series. Like
there was like a little Triforce symbol in Tears of the Kingdom, but
a little bit. But I mean, besides that, imagine each corner of the Triforce is its own like specific area. I just thought, you know what? Light is always depicted of being good. What if it's corrupted with Ganon and all the light monsters are actually the enemies, and the dark monsters are actually the ones? It's like just reversed, pretty much. So it's like this whole time in each other game, you're just trained to always like the light is usually what helps you, but this time it's actually the darkness, which is good.
Did you just say the plot of Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, it's really darkness. They could bring back a fan favorite, because this could also go into Twilight Princess, since that was also.
Uh-oh.
What?
Oh, go on.
You know, at the end of Twilight Princess, you're I don't want to say it because my man meet will probably play that at some point. But you know, your
the
things
big reveal
separated.
Yeah.
At the end.
Mm-hmm.
So what if that realm is like part of that Triforce? And that's where it's like originated from.
Ah.
So I don't know. I'm just thinking it'd be cool just to see the Triforce. What's inside there?
Nothing.
Those guys who created it. There's something in there. There was something in there.
They don't have the budget, dude. They can't depict the world in there. It's literally an empty piece of geometry. I checked it. In-game files.
Oh, you checked it?
Yeah. Really nothing in there. Bunch of vertices.
Wow.
128 to be exact. Sorry, man.
That's my question. I'm done.
That's okay. I like the idea though. You know, they could put something in there. I like it. All right.
I need to be banned from coming up with questions.
There's something so funny. It's like you came up with the question, then you didn't even know how to answer it either. I don't think any of us knew how to answer it, except Nakuso.
Oh.
You got it down. Before we conclude this episode, it is time to spin the wheel of mystery one more time to determine who will be selecting the next game for VGBC in 3, 2, 1, spin. Aw, frick.
Oh, God.
Tax fraud, tax evasion.
Congratulations, Genji.
Excavation time.
Congratulations, man. All right, so what officially on record, what is your next VGBC game?
Turnip Boy commits tax evasion.
That is going to be officially the next VGBC game. That'll be VGBC episode 51. That concludes this episode of Video Game Book Club. Thank you for tuning in. And if you enjoyed the podcast, feel free to like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Twitch, Spotify, Patreon, whatever platform you can find us on. Links in the description box below. With that said, take care, have a good one, and we will catch you in the next episode of Video Game Book Club. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Track you down and hear the truth coming straight from you. Never knew where you had run your only son. The child you never knew I could have been someone. And the only thing I'm sure I wish I never cared. If you did, you would have tried.